The manhwa begins with a festival and music playing in a well-lit town square. A woman can be seen gracefully dancing while others delight in her performance. We then see the face of our female lead. She stands at a distance beside a tree on a mountain, gazing downward at the brilliant display of fireworks and the festive lights of the celebrations. A fairy approaches her and calls out to R, prompting our female lead to question how the fairy knew she was even here. The fairy responds that she had always mentioned how Arhan gives off a very distinct sweet scent. This prompts Arhan to give herself a sniff, noting how she does not smell a thing at all. The fairy then strikes deep and questions if Arhan misses being with humans, as during festivals Arhan always goes out to watch them. Arhan smiles as she replies that she does not miss them and that she's just curious about them. She wonders what do humans even do during festivals anyways. A group of people stand and gaze at the wall, where a notice indicates that the Prime Minister will undertake a massive monster subjugation in celebration of the new year. It further mentions that it is for the safety of everyone's beloved family as well as for the well-being of His Majesty the Emperor. The people reading these papers mention how a monster is a monster and how they should just wipe them all out already. A flyer falls from the air through axes, gold coins, and blood, before a fairy deftly catches it and brings it to our female lead, who questions what this is. As Arhan starts to have a look at it, the fairy questions her about what it says. Arhan reads it out loud, saying it is an Imperial Monster Subjugation Notice, and that the location where this will all go down is Walter Forest. Arhan's expression suddenly shifts to one of worry, causing the fairy to mirror her concern and inquire about what happened. The fairy, unable to believe the possibility, questions if humans are coming to conquer their forest. In response, Arhan instructs the fairy to return and hastily runs back, driven by a sense of urgency. Our protagonist introduces herself as Harmonia, and she was the daughter of the Duke Pelbrin. In the past, she called out to her parents as they told to hurry up and come over here. She then presented with a dark object, prompting her father to ask where she got this. To this she smiles as she tells him it was a gift from her friend. Her father became worried and asked about what kind of friend could possibly be in the forest. Suddenly, one of their guards shouted to the Duke that there was a monster behind them. They all turned to look with worry. Harmonia's mom hugged her as it was mentioned there were a bunch of monsters and that they needed to evacuate immediately. Harmonia, however, rushed toward the monster, calling it a friend as her mom yelled for Harmonia to come back. An ogre looks down at the young child as Harmonia tells him they meet again. He starts to pick her up in his hands, as it is said that on that day, the territory was ruined, but surprisingly there were hardly any casualties. They just came to look for her. She sat on the monster's shoulder as they both laughed together. In a room, someone yells saying they cannot live like this anymore. A man mentioned that as soon as the night fell, the monsters came swarming in, and he couldn't sleep due to anxiety. He blamed Harmonia for all of this, saying it was her fault. Harmonia's dad responded, asking if they wished for him to abandon his daughter, his only precious daughter. The others called to the Lord and mentioned that at that rate, everyone in the duchy was at risk because of the lady. We see a child staring through a crack in the door. Harmonia overheard them as her eyes started to widen from what was going on. She heard words like it's due to her that everyone's in danger and that if only the lady could disappear. Many believe that this is all her fault. Later she sat outside and cried as a shadow started to cover her. The monster approached her and asked why she was crying. She responded, saying it was because of her that the people. Harmonia does not finish speaking as the monster tried to comfort her and told her not to cry because she is the prettiest when she smiles. Harmonia knew what they always wanted was her. She extended her hands and decided that now she would follow them home, leaving with the monster. In the next 17 years, she and the monsters never left the forest. Back to the present, our female lead rushes home as her friends call her R. Lime questions where she was. Lime was worried since she disappeared without saying a word. Our female ponders that no matter what measures they have to take, they will protect their home. Her precious home for her and her family, the Walter Forest. They question if she is leaving as she responds that she's heading out. She continues about how if the humans decided to mess with the forest they had already almost forgotten about, then that means they are confident in their ability to subjugate. So she will need to go talk to the humans' leader. One of the bears states that the humans won't listen to her request as she responds that nevertheless, it's better than staying still and ending up losing all of them. She then says besides, Perry and Lime are coming too with her. A monster then calls to R, before then handing her something like a necklace. The ogre tells her to always be vigilant and that if something dangerous happens, Karis will come to her aid immediately. Harmonia thanks Karis and embarks on her journey, saying she will be back and wishes for them to take care of each other while she is gone. We then see her walking with two homies down a well-lit path. She looks up, covering her eyes, as after a long 17 years, she has finally left home for the first time. She enters the town, observing humans joyfully roaming around. She ponders that it's her first time in town. She questions to herself what she should do now as she takes in the sight in front of her. The fairy hiding inside her hoodie questions if they are there yet, to which Harmonia tells the fairy to shush and not to come out as she's going in now. The fairy finds it frustrating as she and Lime have to hide, to which Lime agrees with her. Harmonia apologizes to them and wishes for them to hang in a little more. The fairy responds that since it's Harmonia requesting, she can hold on for a bit longer, and Lime says it can as well. She thanks them and decides to move as fast as she can. Arhan then turns her legs and then tightens her hood to get ready. She heads into the town and ponders how she did not notice from afar, but it seems like the people sell a lot. One man yells saying everything is cheap and that the meat is very fresh. Harmonia turns as she realizes that the humans have a different currency that they use. She checks her bag to see if there is anything she can use to exchange for some money. She finds that the troll blood would be a waste to sell, and that daggers are so common that she does not think they will sell well. Maple tree sap is an emergency food ration of hers. She then holds onto a jewel that she finds. She then recalls how humans seem to like jewels and wonders if selling this will bring her some money. Fairy questions if Harmonia is worried about the money, and if so, can Fairy just go and steal it. Harmonia responds that it does not seem like a bad idea, but they will get in huge trouble if Fairy gets caught. Lime mentions that it'll just eat the humans and get rid of the evidence. Harmonia's gaze sets at a distance as she notices something. Many humans are standing over there and she wonders why is it so crowded. She tries to see from behind before spotting a notice, but is unable to read it due to too many people standing in front of her. She heard the two men converse as one questions if the other has heard the rumors that the subjugation is being held in Walter Forest, but the other man does not have any detail about it. Harmonia freezes as the men questions about the girl with azure hair who can supposedly control monsters. Doesn't she live in Walter Forest? And he has heard that she talks to monsters too. The other men find it to be just hearsay. How can they as human beings communicate with such stupid monsters? This displeases our female lead, who starts to walk, calling the guys troll boogers. She ponders about how most humans that she has seen thought monsters were a threat to them. She knows they're just all fools who'd rather use force than try to communicate. But the ones who are violent and ignorant are not the monsters, but the humans instead. Lime looks with concern as Harmonia grits her teeth in frustration and ponders about how it was humans who rejected innocent monsters first, and now they're trying to steal her home and hurt her family. She completely understands why monsters don't like humans. She passes by every place and finds it unbelievable that there is no place to sell her jewelry. She can then be seen looking up in astonishment before then walking forward, noting she has found one. The door opens to the sound of a bell as the shop owner welcomes her. As she looks around at all the ice, he asks if she is looking for anything. She mentions that she'd like to sell a jewel as the man asks for her to show the jewel she would like to sell. She tells him this is it before having handed it over. He then pulls out a scope and starts to examine the jewel before then getting startled about something. Harmonia questions what is wrong. He nervously responds it's nothing and then places the scope down. He then clasps his hands together and joyfully asks if she has a price in mind. She gets a bit nervous and wonders if this is a game humans play, and then decides to play along. She knows she has to aim high before she then questions, isn't he quite daring? And asks him to go first and how much does he have in mind. He is speechless as she deep down questions if she's doing it all wrong. Her attention switches to a man laughing behind her now. She gets irritated and wonders what is so funny for him to laugh like this. He apologizes for laughing and mentions how it's just not quite the best way to bargain. She guesses in mind that it seems like it's obvious that she does not interact with humans a lot and knows she needs to be more careful. The man tells her that it's not a jewel either, to which she questions what is it then. He grabs at the blue piece and replies that it is a magic stone and a mineral that is used to lure monsters. She realizes that it does seem to be what humans call it before thinking she does not think this could lure anyone, considering that it is scattered all over the forest. The man confesses that it is the first time he has seen a magic stone this pure and clean. Harmonia looks over and wonders what is wrong with him. She also decides to just get her money and leave. She nervously asks the shop owner how much will he pay her for it. Before the man mentions to wait and he will be the one buying this magic stone and he will give her as much as she wants. She becomes startled before he then tells her to name her price. She questions him directly about how much he is going to buy it for, before he asks how about 200,000 gold. The shop owner intervenes and tells her she cannot just take it back, and he says he will give her 250,000 gold. She remains speechless as both men continue to name new prices. The man tells the shop owner he will pay 530,000 and they should end it with that. Harmonia tells them to stop fighting. She mentions that she came to this store to sell it, so she will sell it to the shop owner with the mustache. This makes the man very joyful, asking if she's sure. He leaves to get the money as she ponders that she doesn't even know how much this magic stone costs. But thanks to this man she got a good deal. The man stares at her with an irritated expression, which makes her wonder if he is making such an expression just because she did not sell it to him. She knows she does not have to worry about how he feels. He questions if he could ask her something. He questions where did she obtain such a pure magic stone from. She responds that she just picked it up near her house. He questions this statement as the jeweler returns with the money, filled with joy. She takes the money as the store owner tells her to come again. The man watches as she leaves and wonders where on earth does she live to be able to pick such a rare magic stone. He holds his chin as he finds it very suspicious. She sees a place named a haven for monsters, which piques her interest. The lime finds it so stuffy in the cape and wishes to go out, and the fairy also complains that she is at her limit. Harmonia apologizes and tells them they are almost in the lodge, so they should please be patient. She goes inside as the attendant welcomes her into the haven of monsters and questions if she is looking for a meal or for accommodation. She responds saying lodging, and the attendant asks if it's just going to be her or if she has company. Harmonia replies that it is just going to be her, and she would like to stay for 3 days. The attendant mentions a 3-day stay will cost her 7 silver coins. Harmonia ponders that she does not have silver coins and thinks the attendant might take gold coins since they are more valuable anyways. She places a gold coin on the table saying, "Here you go." To this the attendant says her change for the gold coin will be 3 silver coins. Harmonia then thinks that just like the name a haven for monsters, is it a place where monsters can stay? As she is handed her change, Harmonia says she has a question. She questions if monsters can stay here, which startles the attendant, and the attendant questions what does she mean. Harmonia replies that by the title it means it is a haven for monsters, so she just wishes to make sure. The attendant responds that it must be a misunderstanding and it is not that type of haven. The attendant mentions that the haven in name means it's a place to unalive monsters. It is where the monster hunters can get some rest. Furthermore, it does not make sense for a monster to come and rest in a place like this, and just the thought of it is scary to even think about it. The attendant then says it's nice to have a fun guest every so often. Harmonia informs her that she will head to her room now, as the attendant tells her her room is the 5th room from the right on the 2nd floor, and to have a good stay. As she opens her room's door, both Lime and the fairy immediately come out, and the Lime mentions it has no idea how long it has been since it has been free. Lime says the room is not half bad, and Fairy finds the room good enough to stay in for a few days. They mention how it must have been hard on her and tell Harmonia to rest together. She calls the both of them and then she apologizes to them as they question what she is apologizing for, and she did not do anything wrong, so why is she sorry? She tells them it's because they heard things they should not have heard. The fairy mentions as long as Harmonia is not hurt they are fine. The Lime agrees and states it's not like humans just recently started acting this way, and they are used to it by now. Harmonia ponders that she does not like it and she does not wish to lose her friends, and it's just as she had thought, and so she needs to meet the subjugation's leader as soon as possible. She informs the Lime and the fairy that she will be back soon, and they tell her if she is not going to rest first, and they will also go with her. The Lime holds her feet and protests to take them with her since they came with her on behalf of Walter Forrest. She responds that she will go alone, and she just wishes to see the notice from earlier. She promises that she will be back in an hour. The Lime questions if she is sure if she can keep her promise and shows its worries. The fairy seems sad before she accepts her promise. She tells Harmonia to take care of herself and they will wait for her. Harmonia assures them she will be on time and will also bring fruits for them. The fairy corrects human fruits and Harmonia tells them fruits are not bad, and she is sure they will be delicious. After a while she buys the fruits and is glad that the fruit stand was open. She knows it looks like the fruits in the forest but wonders if it tastes the same. She realizes she came to see the notice posted on the bulletin board and looks for it. She finds it and reads it. It states that the monsters are becoming more rampant, and they are recruiting mercenaries for the subjugation. And there is no restriction on the support. However, Walter Forrest in an uncharged territory and informs them that a skill test will be conducted. The second thing is that ownership of spoils such as horns and leathers obtained from subjugation are individually recognized. However, all other resources found in Walter Forest belong to the Empire, and any use or damage is prohibited. Third is that prospective participants can apply at the reception desk in front of the imperial castle in the capital. Fourth is that participants are individually liable for oneself and compensation will not be provided in the event of passing. Each successful participant will get rewarded 10 gold per day, and they look forward to the support of talented swordsmen, wizards, and monsters specialists. Signed by head of the Imperial Monster Subjugation Management Committee, Chancellor Hyde. She knows she has to go to the capital if she has to meet him. She is filled with anger that how dare he touch Walter Forrest. One of the fruits in her bag falls and a man picks it up and questions if she is by chance interested in the monster subjugation. She gets nervous and mentions that is not the case as she turns around and sees he is the man from earlier. As the man mentions they meet again and she wonders isn't he that brat from earlier. He approaches her and mentions that she does not seem to wield a sword and questions if by chance she is a wizard. She is nervous as she ponders why is he asking about such things all of a sudden. She responds she is none of them before he questions then what is she so good at, since if she wishes to participate in subjugation she must be good at something. She mentions that he seems to be mistaken and she has no intentions of participating in the subjugation and questions why does everyone feel so uneasy about monsters. He asks her if she's joking and monsters should not exist among them. Their existence is to detriment to humanity. He reminisces about the past where he cries as a monster gazes at him. He continues that monsters cause nothing but harm. She wonders what does he know about monsters for him to say that. He even goes to add that if given the chance, he'd annihilate them all during the subjugation. She grabs one of the fruits and throws it at him and questions what does he knows about monsters and curses at him, and mentions he is the one with an orc claw. She even mentions that he is the worst while he questions what is she even saying. But she runs away as he calls out for her. He finds it unbelievable for her to talk about an orc claw and a troll snot in that matter. He realizes that she was holding a bag of peaches in her arms, but it was a lot for her to eat all by herself and wonders if she has companions. Earlier from when he ran into her at the store, she did not seem to have much desire for money. She seemed a bit slow-witted and looking at her attitude, she appears to be a daughter of her noble family who grew up to be a fine lady. He wishes he had taken a closer look at her. He cannot believe that there is someone who defends monsters in Walbron, the village closest to Walter Forest, which has the highest hostility towards monsters. His curiosity grows as he decides to look into her a little more. Harmonia slams the room's door open and shouts that she is back. The lime nervously welcomes and questions why is she so angry and the fairy asks what happened. She responds that on the way back she met a human that looked like a mixture of orc claws and troll snot. The fairy finds it nasty and questions how could there be a person like that. Harmonia responds that she really does not wish to ever see him again. The lime questions was he really that bad and wonders what happened. She stays quiet for a second before mentioning that she does not know and she cannot explain it with the words. Into her, he was just a very bad person. The fairy mentions that their Harmonia suffered a lot before getting angry and complaining, that's why they asked to go with her. Harmonia assures her that it's okay and they should not worry about it and mentions it feels like a waste of time to stay here for 3 days and questions if they should only buy the supplies they need for tomorrow and set right away. The fairy responds if Harmonia wishes for it then they have no problem and Lime agrees. Harmonia thanks them and decides to rest for tomorrow. She completely dozes off as the fairy shows her worry and wonders she really has no idea if it is right for Harmonia to face humans like this. She puts the blanket on Harmonia and thanks her for today as she wishes her good night. The next day Harmonia wakes up and immediately goes to buy all the necessary supplies and wonders if that is all. The fairy assures her that if they need anything later she can go buy it later and does not need to worry that much. Lime asks where are they going now. Before she responds, the shop owner said that there is a carriage stop nearby and they can rent a carriage to the capital from there. Harmonia ponders that she has never rented a carriage by herself as she has a fearful look. She wonders if she will be fine. After a while Harmonia shouts and questions she cannot rent a carriage. The attendant apologizes and mentions someone has already purchased all the carriages that are going to the capital. She finds it unbelievable and asks if there is really no other way to go to the capital. The attendant responds that not from here but if she goes to the herb village there will be a carriage heading to the capital, and it's a week walk from here to Herb's village. Harmonia has no idea what to do as the attendant wishes her safe travels. She cannot believe how can this happen, as someone asks to excuse himself before she looks at him and realizes he's the same man. She is already frustrated and wonders why is this man here, and why does bad luck seem to follow one another. He is happy to see her as there were so many things that he wished to tell her. She tells him but she has nothing to say to him. He mentions that he presumed the peach thrown at him yesterday was one of the highest quality, given the gentle yet long-lasting scent that lingered. He is so uninterested and responds it must have been nice to smell like high-quality peaches and questions if he's done talking. May she go? He grabbed her shoulder and questions where is she going. And that is not what he wanted to say. He questions if she has any idea how much the robe she threw peaches at yesterday cost. She becomes furious and shouts how is she supposed to know. He tells her they cost twice the amount of gems that she sold. This causes her to get startled as she thinks if it's twice the amount of the magic stone then it's well over 1,000,000 gold. She tells him she does not have any money with her right now before he asks what is she going to do about his robe. She realizes the way this guy is talking. He extends his hand and mentions he really needs to get the money for the robe. She knows it does not seem he will let her go easily. He mentions that if she does not have money, there are plenty of other options. Harmonia realizes that there is a method Manhwa told her to use in this kind of situation and knows now is the time. He questions if she is listening to him. Before she screams and people's attention turns towards them. She tries to put up an act and questions what is he doing to her and she does not wish to do it. She asks for help from them and calls him a creep. Hyde wonders how did this happen and how did they end up like that. She fake cries and asks him to let go of her. He shouts why is she doing this to him, and tells everyone this is a misunderstanding. She responds but he keeps touching her when she doesn't like it. He extends his hands towards her and tries to tell her if she keeps doing this he will get in trouble and she shouts again and a man grabs Hyde's hands and tells Harmonia to leave. She quickly leaves as he shouts for her to at least explain before she goes. He tries to tell the man that it is not as it looks like while Harmonia leaves and she ponders he deserves it. The man questions if he is really can-eyed and she stops midway and only hears his half name. She finds it fitting a strange name for a strange person. He asks the man why would he lie about it. And he really is Chancellor Hyde. The man responds that he is not saying he does not believe him. He just wants some sort of proof. Hyde ponders that he cannot believe that it was right under his nose and he missed it. He shows the man His Majesty's seal of approval for the subjugation and questions if that is enough proof. The man apologizes to him and Hyde tells them go and finish what they were doing and thanks to them he has to figure out how to catch that girl he just missed out. One of the girl from the crowd asks if that girl did something wrong. And he responds that as a matter of fact she did as she stole something valuable from him and ponders she ruined it to be exact. The girl further says that she does not know if this will help or not but she is sure that the lady went to Herb's village because she said she wanted to go to the capital. After some days, Harmonia continues on her journey to Herb's village and mentions it'll take 3 more days though she already looks exhausted. She wonders 3 more days and they will be really riding in a carriage right. Lime questions if she is alright. As her eyes look weird. She sits down and states that she is alright, it's just that her legs are so heavy and she does not wish to walk. The lime wishes for her to cheer up a little. The fairy massages her on the shoulder and mentions it must be so hard for her and she should have made sure to see the face of the human who bought all of the carriages. Harmonia responds that it is alright since they have already made it to this town. She stands up and builds up the courage to walk for 3 days more. However, she hears a sound of a horse running as she looks behind to see if that's a sound of a horse. She sees all the carriages that were bought from Wyvern town. She tells Fairy and Lime to hide until the carriages pass by. Lime questions should not they go first. And Harmonia's replies that even if they go first they will just end up catching up to them leaving them covered in dirt. She further mentions that it's been a while since she last cleaned with fresh water and she does not wish to get more dirty. She notices that it seems like they are running in a hurry as if they are being chased and wonders if it's just her that thinks like that. She hears a horrifying sound and looks behind to see a huge dragon-type monster who she calls Wyvern. She questions why Wyvern is here and questions that Wyvern does not attack humans first, right? And the fairy agrees. The guard tells the other to run faster but he mentions that Wyvern is blocking the way. Wyvern asks them to give it back as Harmonia's wonders what is she saying. Wyvern destroys the carriages and asks them to give it back to her immediately. They start to get ready for battle as Harmonia's mentions she cannot hear them because they are too loud. Lime questions if she wishes for it to eat the humans if they are too loud, but she responds that he should hold on. Wyvern screams and asks to give her child back right now as she flees to hurt one of the guards. Harmonia understands that Wyvern's just asked for her baby, which means someone in that carriage procession took Wyvern's child. Harmonia tells Fairy and Lime to wait there for a second but Lime questions what is she going to do. Fairy questions if she is gonna find the child, and tells that it's too dangerous. Fairy complains that it's the human's fault so why should she suffer. Lime agrees and asks her to just go. Harmonia responds it's not for humans, she wishes for the Wyvern's family to be back together. Just as how they are precious to her, Wyvern's children are also precious to her. She leaves as Lime asks for her to come back and finds it so reckless of her. Fairy questions if it will be alright and Lime responds that it does not know. Harmonia is sure that it's somewhere in the carriage and she needs to find the baby before Wyverns gets even more angry. She tries to pass by but one of the guards pushes her and yells at her to get out of her way. This causes the fairy to get angry as she grabs Lime ears, causing it to hurt. The guard shouts for everyone that the weak point is the neck, so all of them should aim towards the neck, but Harmonia's responds that stab it 100 times and see if it works, and they have no idea how thick Wyvern's neck scales are. She gets startled as she notices a shiny thing inside the carriage and wonders if that is the Wyvern's egg. She is positive since this is the same Wyvern's egg she saw before. She picks it up as she ponders if she returns it back to her she will leave right. It falls down as she notes it's way too heavy and knows other monsters can pick it up easily, so why can't she? She understands that she is not going to be able to carry this and it'll be much better to tell Wyverns that the egg is here. She guesses out of all the flying Wyverns the one which is looking around is the leader. She tries to scream at the leader commander and asks to hear her out. She wonders it's a human before it approaches her and mentions she has a sweet scent, and questions what is she doing here, and she seems to understand their language. She greets her and introduces herself. She questions that she is here for her baby right, and she does not need to worry anymore since Harmonia has found it. The Wyvern gets startled and questions if that is true, and asks where is her child. Harmonia points at it and mentions it was too heavy for her to carry it, but she managed to get it out of the carriage. Wyverns mentions that is indeed her child and it was taken away from her, and she is positive. She thanks Harmonia's and grabs her egg as she tries to fly to the battle scene before Harmonia's understands that it seems she is going to fight again, and knows if everyone in here dies and the carriages are destroyed she will have to walk to the capital. She grabs the Wyvern's leg and tells it to stop, and since she was able to return her the egg, can she head back now? Wyvern shows her disappointment and questions so she is the same as them. Harmonia tries to clear up the misunderstanding that she only needs the carriage and she has to get to the capital, but the next town might not have any carriage. Wyvern questions why is she going to the capital. Harmonia responds that she has to meet with the humans leader who's trying to subjugate the Walter Forest and she will go and stop him. Wyvern takes a look at her closely and mentions she knew that Harmonia looked familiar, and questions if she is the child from Walterburn Forest. Harmonia questions if she knows her, and Wyvern responds that it is as she went to see the Walter monsters after they brought a human and it's her first time seeing her since then. Wyvern mentions that Harmonia has grown so much that she could not even recognize her. The guards spot the Wyvern and ask for an attack as she mentions that humans are still disgraceful, however since she has seen Harmonia she will be on her way back now. She roars and flies as the guards mention that she is reappearing for an attack and everyone should aim at the neck. Wyvern mentions that they should consider themselves lucky, disgusting human beings, and the guards are shocked to see that it left. Harmonia is sure that it ended well before Fairy and Lime approaches her and questions if she is keep on going to scare them like that. She apologizes but mentions it got resolved. Fairy curses her if she tried it again she will not let her get away with it. She hears someone mention to the guards to gather the injured and looks behind to see Hyde as he tells them they don't know when they might attack them again. She wonders he was riding with them as well. She sees that the carriages are safe and just decides to leave since they will catch up to them anyway. Night approaches as Harmonia questions if they should leave now, and they both agree. The fairy questions if she is not tired and she should sit. Harmonia sits and mentions that she is getting hungry but all she has is dry meat and she is getting sick of it now. Fairy mentions that if there were any fruits nearby she would have caught its scents, but there are none. Fairy also feels hungry as she mentions maybe the humans harvested them. Lime questions if that sound just came from the fairy's stomach, and questions how is it supposed to make such a sound. Fairy tells it to be quiet and it is supposed to act as if it did not hear it and calls him a stupid Lime. Harmonia thinks about it and realizes that Fairy and Lime have not eaten properly either. She decides to share the dry meat with them, and the fairy asks if Harmonia is sure since it's her food, but Harmonia assures them that she does not have a problem and asks them to go and get firewood since it might taste different if they grill it. Lime gets excited as the fairy asks for it to know when to say no. In the morning, they have finally arrived in the herbs village as she sweats from exhaustion. She decides to hurry and find a place to stay and to wash up and buy something to eat as well as get a carriage. Hyde standing next to her mentions that she arrived a day later than he expected and does not she have to pay him back. She is startled and is aware who this is just by the voice. She knows she does not have the strength to scream like she did last time and there is no one around. He questions if she is listening to him and she refuses to listen to him. He tells her that she is aware they have a lot to talk about. She mentions that as she said before they don't have anything to talk about. He questions if she is really going to pretend as if she does not know. She knows he is trying to get her again and closes her eyes in fear that if she gets caught she might not be able to escape again. She screams at him to please leave her alone and runs as she questions what did he do now. She shouts that he is so annoying and he should go away and he is just like Orc Claws. Harmonia ponders that she has always been unlucky. When everyone was looking for magic stones, all she found was a pretty rock. Even the trees she climbed had beehives in them, and every time that it happened other monsters helped her, so it worked out alright. But in this situation, Hyde mentions that they say that when a coincidence repeats, it becomes inevitable to avoid, and thinks it's inevitable that they keep meeting. Harmonia wonders what should she do. From Wyvern Village all the way to Herb Village, the person who brought all the carriages to the capital, she questions that was him right. He responds that he needed more carriages than he thought. He mentions that he told her he had a lot to say, but regardless of how hard he tried to catch up to her, she kept running and finally he can get to talk. She ponders that he does not even think about what he did wrong and curses him. She turns around and starts to walk as she ponders she'd rather just walk than talk to him and finds him such a pain. He questions if she hates talking to him that much, and she responds that she does. He tells her that he heard she is going to the capital and she remains silent. He smiles and asks her if he may give her a ride, and she becomes turtle as she notes that he smiles like he is possessed. He repeats that he can give her a ride if she would like. She ponders that it would be Connecticut to continue walking, and it was so hard to walk all the way here that she thought she died. But even still, she cannot trust him. And this man is the one who said monsters should not exist among them. And if given the chance, he'd annihilate them all during this subjugation. She is sure that he bought all these garages for the monster subjugation. She fears, what if she gets caught bringing Fatty and lying with her and accompanying someone who's participating in the subjugation while she wants to stop it? It makes no sense. She refuses and he questions why she has nothing to lose. And if she don't come with him, she can rent a carriage in the next town, but she should not assume there will be any as he smirks. He continues that he is going to buy all the carriages there too. She ponders, how can he be so pretty? She ponders, who does he think got him here safely? And wishes that she should not have stopped the wyvern, since what she did to help the wyverns ended up being a large part in his deception. He tells her that he was attacked by a group of wyvern on the way. She tries to walk away as he continues to go after her and states that many were injured and the damage was greater than they expected. She responds that is too bad, and ponders who said he had to steal the egg. She lets him know that she will take her leave, and wishes that they don't see each other in the future. He wonders how can she be so indifferent. He says that in the woods when they were attacked by the wyvern, one of their knights say he saw someone in a brown robe. He said based on the physics of the person, it appeared to be a woman, and he said the person was with the wyvern, and questions so why didn't she get attacked. He further mentions that on a day like this, and at a time when the empire is in turmoil due to the monstrous subjugation, it's not uncommon for tourists to walk from Walburn to Herb Village in brown robes. He holds her shoulder and mentions, coincidentally, she is also wearing a brown robe. He whispers to her, what does she think? And she responds that she is not sure what he is trying to insinuate and questions if he is suspecting her. He tells her that is not it, he's just wondering how she drove the wyverns away. Despite how many mercenaries and knights there are, it's uncommon for anyone to know details about monsters, and anyone in this world would be interested in monsters that are hard to catch alive. He questions if she happened to see a woman in a brown robe on her way here and smirks. She moves away and mentions she did not see her and they won't see each other again, so if he's done talking she'll go. There's no matter what happens she have to get to the next on earlier than this man, and since he keeps talking about her rope color she cannot keep wearing it. She just decides to buy a new rope and get something to eat and leave right away. She remembers she saw a clothing store nearby and turns to leave as he questions where is she going. She responds to buy a robe and questions why is he following her. He mentions that he is also going to buy a robe. She tells him that he looks fine in his current clothes and what is he buying, and he responds that he is just tired of his current clothes and he will better throw this away and buy a new one for a change. She gets annoyed and mentions if he is going to throw it away then throw it away now right here. He agrees and takes off his robe and throws it. He questions if that is all. She responds with a yes. She picks up his robe and mentions thanks to him. She just got a nice robe so she won't go to the store. He blocks her way and tells her to wait and questions that's it. Why is she making him look so cheap? She questions what did she do. It's not like she's stopping him from buying a robe and there seems to be a lot of nice things there. She mentions that buying clothes is nothing when he can buy a whole carriage. He states that the robe she picked up is worth 200,000 gold, plus the robe she ruined last time. That will be 1.2 million gold, right? and tells her to hurry up and pay her. She mentions that he was the one who threw it away, and he says that if she likes it for free she will become bald, and tells her to pay the price. She wonders how can a person be so cheap, and where would she get that kind of money right now. He tells her that apparently she cannot afford to pay it back right now, and there's another way to settle for her debt. She questions what kind of way, and he tells her if she is curious, would she like to hear him out.
Harmonia knows that if she doesn't listen to Cand, he will keep following her and annoying her. She wonders if she should just hear him out. She finally says aloud, somewhat reluctantly, for him to tell her what his deal is. Cand says that he knows she's going to the capital, so he wants to hire her. He asks if she will go to the capital with them. Harmonia is taken aback by the idea of being hired. Getting hired by a handsome man is not that of a bad idea, girl. Cand explains that what he wants from her is simple. He wants her to share all her knowledge about monsters. Harmonia flinches at that. It means he wants her to betray her friends. Bro sounds like a third-wheeler. Cand tries to reassure her, saying it's not that difficult to do. Harmonia immediately refuses, saying she won't tell him anything because she doesn't know anything, and even if she did, she wouldn't have told him. Cand attempts to bribe her, saying he could clear her debt of 1,000,000 gold coins. Harmonia still refuses, saying she won't do it. Man really thought her girl might be a gold digger. She thinks to herself that she'd rather ask Perry for more crystals. Cand then shifts his request. If sharing information is that difficult, will she at least help them avoid monster attacks like she did before? Harmonia becomes furious, asking if he knew about the previous attack. Cand replies that it would be odd not to know. It was too obvious. He asks if she'll do it. Harmonia hesitates, then says she might, but only if he gives her her own carriage. She adds that she'll only help if they don't provoke the monsters first, and if a situation like yesterday happens again, she will deal with it in her own way. Cand tries to explain that they didn't do anything yesterday. It was the wyvern that attacked the innocent carriage. Harmonia tells him that the reason the wyvern attacked the carriage was because there was a wyvern egg inside, and the wyvern retreated only when she returned the egg to it. She then asks him what he was even planning to do with that egg. Cand says that monster hunters are seeking the egg, and he simply bought it for a low price. He wonders if that's wrong. Harmonia sighs. That's exactly the problem. She tries to explain it to him. Think of it from a human perspective. What if someone kidnapped a child from its parents, claiming they bought it? She asks what he thinks would have happened if that had been the case in his own village. She can't believe she's having to explain something like this to a human. Cand admits that it was a mistake, and that he never thought about it from the monster's perspective, so he didn't consider it seriously. He assures her that from now on, they'll be more considerate. Harmonia is so shocked that he actually admitted his mistake so quickly. She begins to wonder if maybe he isn't that bad, but she quickly snaps out of the thought, thinking that no, he's still bad. Maybe he's only acting this way because he reflected on his mistakes and realizes he'll still cause trouble even if he doesn't intend to. Worried, Cand speaks aloud, saying he will assume that the deal is sealed. However, he adds that it will take a month to reach the capital, and asks her to use formal language since he's noticed how upset and informal she's been with him. He also points out that they'll be leaving in 3 days, as the area's rainy season is about to begin, and it will become more difficult to travel. Now that Harmonia thinks of it, the air is humid and the wind feels eerie, as if the forest is angry. Going into the forest during such a time usually leads to trouble. She's getting a bad feeling about it. The scene shifts to Harmonia in her room. Lime asks her if they really have to go to the capital with the other humans. Perry asks if she didn't already talk to them about it. Harmonia assures her that she didn't. However, Harmonia thinks that it might be dangerous, so maybe they should reject Cand's proposal. There are other villages just a bit further away. Perry, chewing daintily, says that most people there are not on the same level, and if Harmonia is fine with it, then they are fine too. Even if they encounter dangerous humans in the capital, they still have Harmonia's pendants, so it will be fine. Perry consoles Harmonia, telling her that she doesn't need to worry about them and should do what she wants. They only wish for her happiness, and if she's happy, then they're happy too. Harmonia thanks them, and they share a happy moment together. She truly wants to resolve things quickly and go back home. They begin their journey without any problems. Harmonia, sitting in the carriage, starts wondering if this is what riding in a carriage is supposed to feel like, because her bottom hurts terribly. Reminds me of my school benches. Seeing her like that, Candy asks if she's uncomfortable. She lies, saying she's perfectly fine. She decides to stay positive about it, and now that she thinks about it, it's more like riding on an orc's shoulder Suddenly, she hears a sound and asks the coachman to stop for a while. She starts to signal to the others to stop as she's heard something. Candace stops them all. She gets off, explaining that she heard footsteps. She gets down on her knees. The ground is shaking, but not strongly enough for it to be an ogre. It's faint, but she can tell that they are large in number. It might be homogoblins. Lizard men, perhaps. Pookies, if it's a lizard, I'm gonna scream, I ain't kidding. She thinks there are too many possibilities, but it would be fine to make a run for it as long as it's not lizard men. Cand asks her if they should take the forest. Harmonia tells him that it would be better if they don't take this road and instead take the forest path. Cand agrees, saying they'll do that. The knights come out of the carriage, asking what's going on. Cand tells them that it seems monsters are coming this way, so they should head into the forest. The knights get flustered. Are they really running away from the monsters? Considering the damage the wyverns cause, this might be their last chance to take revenge. Harmonia stops them, asking if they really think they can handle it. Cand shouts that he knows how everyone must be feeling, but they need to think rationally. It would be best to avoid monster encounters as much as possible. Still, the knights are all ready to attack the monsters. Harmonia mutters to herself that they're just blindly rushing in when they don't even know what's ahead, and that the monsters might be coming out of makeshift boats. The knights tell everyone to get ready, declaring that they're going to attack. Harmonia, angry, stops them from making a fuss. Just like she said before, this isn't something they can handle. She asks if they really think she was warning them about just a dozen monsters. She's talking about hundreds, maybe even thousands. Suddenly, they all turn back and see monsters behind them, one of them declaring that they finally found them. Please subscribe to our channel because I literally have lizard phobia, yet still I'm doing this for guys. Harmonia grows worried. It's the lizard men. She had really hoped to avoid encountering them. The knights shout, asking why everyone is just standing there, and tell them to grab their weapons. Candy is completely stunned by the sheer number of monsters. Harmonia says they need to make a run for it, but Candy turns to her, asking if she's really in her right mind to suggest leaving everyone else behind. Harmonia replies that she already warned them to avoid conflict, and it's their fault for not listening. Besides, the knights were there to protect him, so if they escape now, it'll be enough to save him. The lizard men accuse the humans of wielding their swords first. Cande, remembering his past mistake, argues that there's no need for more sacrifices and that they did nothing wrong. The monsters attack them first, but the lizard men say they won't forgive the humans. Candy, on the other hand, begins to lose his composure. He begs for it to stop. Harmonia, seeing him like this, asks if he's in his senses. He starts trembling, and Harmonia whispers to him, asking what he's trying to say. Trembling, Can begs her to save him and help him. Harmonia grows worried, wondering what's wrong with him. Perry comes out, asking if she should run too, since so many lizard men would be dangerous even for her. Line also comes out, urging her to run. Harmonia thinks to herself that she's already signed the contract, so she can't pretend not to know anything. She rushes toward the knights and tells them to leave this to her. Go to Cand and run away. If he keeps following the path into the forest, he'll get away. The knights run off, taking Cand with them, who is crying like a baby that just lost its mother in the crowd. As the carriage leaves, one of the lizard men remarks that the humans are fleeing. The lizard men then ask who Harmonia is and why she's getting in their way. Harmonia greets them. The lizard men are shocked to see that she can speak their language. The lizard men's general steps forward, astounded that a human can speak their tongue. The fairy comes out, telling the general not to come closer and to speak whatever he wants from a distance. The lizard men find it interesting that even this girl has monsters with her. She truly is an interesting human. They then ask her why she stopped them. She replies, long story short, that she wants them to stop following the humans and let them go. The lizard men respond that they've heard the humans were trying to subdue them, and if they let them live, it will be the lizard men who die. Harmonia thinks to herself that this news should only be known to the teachers of the Walter Forest, so how did they find out? She tells them that she's on her way to meet the human general and intends to resolve this issue herself. She adds that the operation will stray into the Walter Forest, which is her home, and she's here to protect her home. The lizard men wonder aloud, a human in the Walter Forest? They've heard that the monsters there are indeed raising a child. The general starts to sniff her and thinks she smells really good, confirming to himself that the monsters in Walter Forest are loyal to her. Harmonia thanks him for the compliment and says that now that they trust her, perhaps they can go back. But the lizard men refuse, saying there's no way. Harmonia argues that killing the humans will only make things worse, and she really needs them alive in order to meet the general. The general shouts that they didn't bring all these troops just to turn back. If they go back now, their reputation will be tarnished. Pokies always remember pride over your love for your exes. If she really wants them to retreat, then she'll have to give them something in return, something worthy. Harmonia thinks to herself that either way, a sacrifice must be made. They won't leave just like that, and she's also bound by the contract. She tells them that if they follow the road, they'll reach a human village. That village will likely provide the wagons needed to subdue monsters. She asks if they'll let the carriage pass in exchange for the village. She only did this because the humans were unwilling to listen to her. The lizard men ask if she's lying to them. Harmonia thinks that if she is, she'll have to bear the consequences, but she says she isn't lying. She needs to protect the Walter Forest, and for that, the humans in that carriage must remain safe. They say they'll trust her, but if she doesn't want a war between humans and monsters, she must persuade the humans well. As they begin to leave, she asks if she can ask one last thing before they go, who told them about the operation. They say it was a man in a robe. They think they've smelled his scent somewhere before, but the smell was too turbid to be sure. She asks if it was a human. The general replies that it was a creature, and it spoke their language. Then they take their leave, calling Harmonia the child of the Walter Forest. Harmonia is left exhausted. Why does she have to do all this? It was their fault for not listening to her, so why is she the one who has to deal with it all? Girl just wants to go back home and scroll some reels at this point. Harmonia thinks that she did tell them to go ahead, but she didn't expect them to take all the carriages with them. She chuckles, thinking that these humans are really great at ruining their own lives. I felt attacked here. Suddenly, she hears Canna telling the knights that they should go back and help Harmonia. One of the knights shouts that they can't do that, which makes Candy grit his teeth in anger. The knight explains to Candid he was having a panic attack, and that's why they had to leave, and it would be best if they didn't go back there. Can scoffs, saying that none of that would have happened if they had just listened to her, and questions how they could leave her behind with no sense of responsibility. The knight scoffs back, asking if he's really blaming them for the entire situation. Harmonia, sneaking closer and observing this whole situation, wonders why Candy is so worried about her, and if he truly is such a responsible person. Bro is a real gentleman. Finally, she speaks up, asking what's going on. She steps towards them, asking if something happened. Candy, looking worried, asks how she managed to come back unharmed and how she got away from those lizard men. Harmonia hesitantly says that it's a secret she can't really share with them. Candy, however, feels relieved that she got away unharmed. The knights rush to her, confused about how she managed to escape when there's no way the lizard men would let their prey go. Harmonia simply repeats that it's a secret. One of the knights, creeping closer with a laugh, suggests that she could share the secret with them since it's not a top military secret, and if she tells them how to kill those monsters, it could benefit everyone. He is sneaking like the class so-called topper who really can't see anyone above them. Harmonia suddenly shouts that she has no desire to kill monsters, that she's not a mercenary, and even if she had information like that, she would never share it with someone like them. This makes the knight furious as he asks what she just said. Harmonia scoffs, questioning if he's deaf and can't hear properly, and adds that even if she did tell them how to do it, they would never be able to kill the monster. She mocks their belief that monsters would just fall to the ground from a few sword swings. Infinity aura sarcasm. This enrages the knight even more, and he grabs her by the collar, demanding how she dares speak like that. Cand quickly steps in between them and pushes the knight away. With a disappointed sigh, Cand tells the knight that this is how he repays someone who took care of the consequences of their foolishness. He says they were blinded by revenge and too eager to fight without properly assessing the situation, and that they just ran off. If it weren't for Harmonia, they would have been lizard food by now. He then turns to Harmonia and says they should head out again, offering her the seat next to the driver at the very front. Can steps away, ordering everyone to get ready. As she sits, Harmonia thinks to herself that she already knew many in this procession didn't like monsters, but she feels bad knowing that Perry and Lime must have heard everything. She regrets how it may have affected them. Can then speaks to Harmonia, saying he didn't get the chance to say this earlier, but he's grateful that she saved them, and if it weren't for her, they would likely be dead by now. Harmonia casually agrees, stating that of course she did. After all, they made a contract. This reminds Can that he still doesn't know her name. Harmonia thinks that telling him her name wouldn't hurt, so she tells him. Cande, like a literal playboy, who have said the same riz to every girl, compliments her name and asks if he can ask one more thing. She allows it. He asks her why she is going to the capital. She tells him that she has to meet someone named Chancellor and that she has something to discuss with him. Cand asks her what it is she wants to discuss. She replies that it's a secret and then turns the question on him, asking for his name since she heard someone calling him Cand and wants to know if that's really his name. The driver is about to say something, but Candy interrupts, telling Harmonia that yes, his name is Cande. Seeing him act all cheesy, Harmonia internally wonders what that was about. She tells him again that she's going to the capital to meet Chancellor in person. And if he's that curious, he can come and watch. This makes Cand smirk as he says he'll be looking forward to it. The night grows darker, and Candy points out that clouds are covering the sky. He says it will be difficult to continue and calculates that they might not reach the next village today. He proposes that they spend the night in the forest and leave early in the morning. He asks Harmonia if that would be all right with her. Harmonia wonders why he's so concerned about her preferences, but thinks it should be fine as long as they don't go too deep into the forest. Those knights are always mucking around, so she says to him that it won't really matter. But if his men don't listen to her again, she won't help him at all. They're his responsibility now. Cand offers his assurance, but Harmonia remains doubtful after what she's seen. She starts laying down the ground rules. The first rule is not to go deep into the forest. If there's anything they need, they have to inform her right there. Secondly, they must not touch anything unfamiliar. Picking or even touching baby monsters is strictly forbidden. She says she doesn't want to repeat these things again. Cand responds that he understands all of it clearly. Finally, she tells him to warn his knights that the consequences of their actions can be very serious, and if they don't have the courage to bear those consequences, they had better not cause trouble ever again. Next time, they will have to shut up and follow her orders too. Cand worriedly says to her that he will relay all these rules to his knights. Harmonia firmly tells him not to skip a single word while doing so. She adds that he is going on this monster hunt, but at least Cand can pretend to listen and have an open mind about it. She steps away, saying that she will go and get some rest now, and tells him to call her if something happens. Candy bids her good night. Inside the carriage, she lets Perry and Line come out, asking them if they are all right. She apologizes to them, saying that she was with humans all this time and that it must have been really stuffy for them. Line, kind as always, says to her that it's all right since he got used to being inside the bag. Perry is fine too, but she really wanted to give a beating to that guy who disrespected her earlier. She says that if he ever does it again, she will paralyze him. Lime adds that if he does, he will eat him. After that, there will be no evidence left. Then Harmonia is glad that they still are full of energy, and that they will be fine as long as she is okay. Their guard, she sighs, thinking that she can't believe that so much happened in such a small day as before. A single day didn't seem to be this long. She plans to get some sleep now. A few days later, their carriage is moving really fast as they are running away from someone. Harmonia asks the coachman if there is no way they can go faster. He says to her that he would have if he could. Harmonia didn't think that they were that many, and they should have lost them, and wonders if orcs were always this fast. They were even carrying weapons that meant they planned to attack the carriage. Orcs usually don't attack humans unless they are the first ones to attack them, so she wonders why they are like this. All orcs are cute. Harmonia asks Can how much is left until the next village, and says they should go there and hide from these orcs. Can says that it is a lot further down. Harmonia notices that he is starting to look bad again. She gets worried if he is going to have another meltdown after being caught by the monsters, and there is only one way to throw the orcs off. Please boys, having panic attacks are my biggest hear me out, please don't judge me. She whispers to Perry to do her a favor. She asks her if she can use the fairy powder on the orcs, and she just needs her to put them to sleep for a little while. Perry says that she doesn't like it, that she is doing this for humans, but she is doing it just for the sake of Harmonia. Harmonia thanks her and Perry leaves. She sprays and all the orcs fall asleep. Even Candy is shocked to see that all the orcs have fallen down. Perry comes back, asking her if she did well. Harmonia praises her. The fairy powder lasts for 10 hours, and that would be enough for them to reach the next village. Harmonia says to Cand that she doesn't know what happened, but it will help them get to the village. Cand wonders if it really will be fine to leave them like this. Harmonia is like, isn't he happy? He says that if they leave them and the orcs wake up and attack the village, wouldn't it be better to just kill them before they wake up? Since they are already down, they can just kill them without any risk. Harmonia, composed, says that they won't be doing this. Candy tries to persuade her, but Harmonia coldly asks if he didn't hear her. Candy gets flustered, wondering if there's something she doesn't want to tell him. Harmonia thinks to herself if she was being insensitive. She says to him that she can hear other monsters approaching, and if they waste time, they could catch them. She asks him if he really wants to run into them, and if that's what he wants, then she won't stop him. Can decides to take her word as they start moving. She thinks that they really plan to kill monsters who can't even do it, and humans just want to kill monsters no matter what. She knew that they were cruel and can't really trust them. Then they finally reach the village. Harmonia is getting really bored. She can't believe that she has to go through a pass at every checkpoint. They go through each village. The guard says to Candy that he will have to fill out the form. Candy is glad that they safely reached the village and that he listened to Harmonia. Come to think of it, Harmonia seemed really agitated earlier, but again, she has been on edge for quite some time, so he doesn't really blame her. He plans to get her a good sleep tonight. Harmonia, peeking at the list, asks him if this is the list of travelers. He says that it is, but flinches as he sees that it's Harmonia. She asks him why she is not inside the carriage. She says that she wanted to hold what he was holding. She asks if that is something that he has to fill in before entering any village. Can blushes a little and thinks that if she is talking to him right now, that means she is feeling better. He explains to her that it's the most basic form of entry to have a record in case something happens, and Parthio is the biggest checkpoint on the way to the capital, so the inspection there is much more thorough than anywhere else. He then shows her a pass, saying that with this, they can enter without any complications. Harmonia says that it seems really convenient and asks if she can get one of those passes too. Candy grins that they are not issued unless you have a special purpose with high status. He flexes that she won't have any trouble as long as she travels with him. Harmonia thinks that it's too bad. If she had that pass, she would have taken another carriage and run off. Suddenly, the bell starts to ring. Harmonia wonders what it is. Can replies that someone must be ringing the bell, and that they usually ring it several times when there is something urgent. The guard at the checkpoint, all horrified, says to them that a pack of orcs is coming their way. Both Can and Harmonia get flustered upon hearing this news. Harmonia can't believe that they woke up this early from Perry's powder. Can says to Harmonia that he was right when he said they should have killed them. And now what will they do? Harmonia's head is hurting. She tells him to be quiet for a while because she's trying to think. She thinks that she will have to talk to the orcs directly, but there are a lot of people around. The orcs say that the humans have declared war, so they can't just stand by. She gets worried that they might be talking about the monster hunt and wonders if they heard about it from that robed figure. The guard mumbles that if the orcs are making a sound, that means they're safe, but they might be planning to attack them. Harmonia gets really pissed. Where are they even getting all this information from? She starts to run, thinking that she'll have to do something before the humans make a mess of it again. Sad but true. Candace stops her, asking what she is doing and if she is really going to see those orcs. Harmonia says that she has to go. Cand almost pleads with her to think about a plan before she goes since orcs can eat humans. Harmonia says that she knows, so what does he expect her to do? Just stand and watch? Cand asks her if she couldn't think about it a little more. Annoyed, she asks him how much longer his little more is, and if she just stands there thinking like him, then nothing will be done. She slits her hand away from him, saying that she doesn't like it. No way if someone would have said something like this to me, I would have gone straight for therapy. This makes him wonder. If he had tried to act more like Harmonia and more, something like that on that day, would anything have been different? He says to himself it wouldn't be, because Harmonia is running like she knows what she plans to do, and she even escaped the lizard men last time. This time, he plans to see what she will really do. Perry comes forward to her, saying that she can't get closer to the orcs since orcs are too stupid to be reasoned with. Line seconds her, saying that orcs really hate humans too. Harmonia says that if she doesn't try, she wouldn't know, and she was able to talk to orcs in Walter Forest. Perry gets pissed, asking why Harmonia is even trying this much for the humans, and if humans are that special to her more than them. Harmonia becomes sad, wondering what she is saying. All of a sudden, Line says that this isn't sudden, and that they don't like it when she cares so much about these humans. She tries to reason that she is doing this because she made a promise. At this time, the orc steps toward her. She greets him, saying that if they can talk. The orc says that he also has something to say. She asks him what it is, and he says that he wants to know why the orcs are being called slow, starting to think. He asks her if the war thing is true. She asks if the orcs are here for that reason. The orcs say that they heard about this news and that's why they formed an army, but they add that the humans look different, and this doesn't feel like war. They say that if humans don't fight, they won't attack. Harmonia feels hope. Maybe she can convince them. Pookies, this is your sign to remember that communication is the key. She says to them that it's true the humans are planning to attack for a monster hunt in Walter Forest, and as the orcs know, there are many hidden resources there. The orcs say that they will attack the humans since they wanted to harm their brethren. Harmonia tries to tell him that won't be necessary and that she's here to stop this. Suddenly, an arrow comes toward them. Harmonia turns, shouting what do they think they are doing. These stupid-ass people really wants to get killed. I'm getting pissed now. The orcs get flustered, believing the humans are attacking them. Now they will attack too. Harmonia says to them that it's all a mistake. She passes the orc, saying that she will talk to the humans and try to complete what she was telling them. But the orc tells her not to touch them and throws her away. Lime shouts at the orc, asking what does he think he is doing, and is he angry at Harmonia? This makes Harmonia regret. Why in the hell did she promise Can to protect him? Harmonia says to the orc that if they could forgive them just once. She rises up, saying that she came here to smooth things. She says that she will explain everything to him and what she is planning to do. The orc thinks and says that they are angry, but they will still listen to her. Lex are simple-minded. They say to her that she is the first one in their place, so what do humans actually like to eat? Harmonia is glad that she solved the urgent case at hand, but she hopes that no one listened to her while talking to them. But from the face of Cand, she thinks that it seems like he's not that happy to see what she just did. She thinks that maybe it's for the best. The orcs start to leave. Even the guard is surprised to see that the orcs are leaving, while Candy is still stunned. How can this happen? From the way it was looking, it seemed to him that she was actually talking with the monsters. But again, he wonders how can she even communicate with them? The guards whisper among themselves, wondering what will happen with the Harmonia that got along with them, and they don't even want to think about it. One of them says that they heard that Lex eat humans too. Can thinks that this will mess with his plans. He didn't think that Harmonia would really be taken away by the monsters. He goes and grabs the guard, and all coldly says that Harmonia is not going to die. He orders him to bring whoever is in charge here and to tell the Chancellor he wants to see him immediately. He thinks to himself that he can't let this happen, not when he still needs Harmonia. If y'all want to know how Cand acts like a real man for the first time, do subscribe to our channel now. I'll go and have some food bye. Now the Arhees, clearly worried, asks if he can know why Candy has taken time out of his busy schedule to meet and talk with him. Cand smirks and says that one of the Baron's men acted on his own without having any orders from their superiors during an emergency monster attack. So Cand just wants to see the one who has trained them. And it turns out this person is the man before him, Baron Pecan. Pecan, all embarrassed, says that he has heard about the situation and tries to excuse it by saying that his men usually don't behave this way. He adds that the soldier's finger must have slipped out of fear upon seeing the monsters. Cand replies that whatever the case may be, it still led to the kidnapping of his guide. He points at Pecan, stating that since he is the one in charge of this place, then he should be the one to take responsibility. Cand emphasizes that he really needs that guide not only to find his way, but because she is also a part of his future plans. Boy, what exactly are we trying to emphasize here, huh? Baron Pecan nervously asks what Cand wants him to do. Cand, now with a strong aura filling the air, declares that he wants Pecan to mobilize all his soldiers and do whatever it takes to get his guide back. Pecan slams the table, calling the request outrageous. Mobilizing all the soldiers just for the sake of one person is unacceptable, he says. Cand, unbothered, points out that he has already told him that his guide is indispensable. Still, Pecan argues it would leave them defenseless, and the chance of actually saving her is slim to none. He says he will send Cand with another skilled guide instead. Cand turns, asking if Pecan really thinks another guide will meet his standards. He outlines the qualities his guide possesses. First, she must be extremely knowledgeable about monsters. Second, she must be able to predict their movements and resolve any disputes with them. That's because he wants to reach the capital without getting involved with any monsters along the way. Pecan is flustered. He doesn't understand what any of that has to do with a guide, and more importantly, who in the world will even know all of this? Cand wonders aloud, if he told Pecan that his guide possesses all these qualities, would he then understand why Candy is going to such lengths for her? With her abilities, the upcoming hunt would be much easier. It seems like she knows the weakness of all the monsters out there, and she might even have the ability to talk to them. Can decides that he will find out more about her in due time. With her help, he'll be able to rid the world of all the monsters at once. If that happens, they won't have to suffer unnecessary damage anymore, and all of it will be for the peace of the Empire and the prosperity of its citizens. Pekin says he understands what Cand is trying to say, but they also have to worry about the immediate cost. They can't endanger the majority for the sake of one person. At that, Candy drops his glove on the table and sharply calls out to Pekan, asking him if he has ever thought of the majority. He only remembers Pekin doing favors for the wealthy few. I am not really liking Cand, but that was actually hot. Cand steps toward him, saying he has heard some quite unique rumors about the Baron. One of them says that a drug deemed illegal by the Empire can be found in his territory, and apparently, it's sold at such a high price that most subjects wouldn't even dare to dream of affording it. He also heard that one of those involved, who might currently be asleep, is a noble. Pekin gets visibly nervous, but tries to deny it, saying he doesn't know what Candy is talking about. Can pats him on the shoulder, saying that he knows exactly why he's mentioning it to Pekan, and that Pekan should know exactly why Candy has been given the data of the Chancellor. He warns him not to even think about fooling him. And that's not the only thing he knows about Baron Pekan. Pekan's heart starts to race as he wonders to himself, if Candy really knows every noble's weakness, whatever it might be, then one thing is clear: it won't be good for him to be on Can's bad side. Finally, Pekan concedes. He says he will gather all the soldiers, stepping away. Can says that only now has he truly understood him and thanks him for his cooperation. But Pekan still adds that he can assure Cand of one thing: even if they gather all their soldiers, they are no match for those orcs. They spent months trying to fight a flame in that land, and nothing worked. Besides, the terrain is unstable. Pekan doubts even Cand's guide will be much help in a monster hunt. He warns that it could all result in more harm, so he begs Cand to reconsider. Cand slams the door shut. Outside, he wonders to himself if he went too far, but again, he doesn't even know where the orcs are located. He had been so determined to find Harmonia that he didn't think this through. He knows now that he'll have to come up with another plan. Orcs have a habit of keeping humans as livestock, so he's sure they might not kill her right away. He turns to Kun and says that he will be needing his help. Meanwhile, on the other side, Harmonia is about to burst from all the food she's been given. She has been eating non-stop, but there's still a mountain of food in front of her, and the orcs keep adding more and more to the pile. Man, I'm hungry, but I'm on a 2 weeks take-out prohibition. It's not getting smaller anytime soon. An orc comes to her and asks if she needs more, saying they have plenty and she can have as much as she wants. Harmonia tells the orc that she's really grateful for their hospitality, but now she feels like her throat is full. However, more than that, there's something she wants to ask them. She asks how they heard about the rumor, considering they live so deep in the forest. She explains that she's talking about the rumor of humans getting ready for war. The orc replies that someone in a robe like hers came to them and said that soon humans would start a war and the orcs would be attacked if they didn't do anything. Harmonia asks if they remember anything else about the robed figure. The orc says he remembers a mark on the man's cheek, red eyes, and a faint, ominous energy around him. They felt something like poison. It was clearly demonic energy. Harmonia becomes really flustered. Harmonia asks the orcs if they are sure because she can't believe something like this could be done by a demon. It's incredibly rare for demons to leave their realm, and what would they even gain from interfering between humans and monsters? They are not the type to meddle in things that don't interest them. The orc admits he doesn't know why the man came to them, but one thing is for certain: they could smell the demonic energy from him. Harmonia knows that orcs don't lie, but she just can't take his word for it so easily. There is no logical reason for a demon to be here. The orc then asks her why she came to them and what she plans to do for them. She explains that she's headed to the center of human civilization. She's going to meet their leader and ask him to stop the monster hunt. She believes it would be better to talk to the one in charge instead of leaping straight into war. The orc thinks about her words for a moment. Harmonia believes that something like this is best resolved by talking to the person in charge. Seeing their expressionless faces, she asks if they don't trust her. The orcs respond that they trust her, but they just don't trust other humans. Harmonia assures them that if the general refuses to stop, she won't stop the orcs either, just like she didn't today. She then looks over and sees Lime, who seems to have grown in size after eating so much. Worried, she asks the orcs if it's really okay since Lime ate all their food. The orcs kindly say that the reason they had all that food in the first place was for Lime to eat. Lime, so sleepy now, mumbles that he wants to go to sleep. Harmonia shouts at him, saying he can't just sleep right after eating, he needs to let the food digest first. Wow, now understand why I always have a bloated stomach every morning. Even Perry calls him an idiot. One of the orcs standing next to her says that he doesn't understand what the Watcher of the Forest was thinking when he allowed Harmonia to come here. Perry, confused, asks what he means. The orc says that if it were him, he would never have let such a precious and special child get close to humans because humans are cruel and dangerous. Perry sighs, admitting she shares the same thought. But this was all Harmonia's idea. She wanted to go and speak to someone. They couldn't stop her, even if they wanted to. When Harmonia insisted on going, she shined so brightly. The orc says that Harmonia has the ability to charm others. It was such an irresistible force. That's why the Dragon of Walter has been watching over her and worrying about her. Perry points out that they have no choice but to worry. But as long as she is shinning, they will protect her. Ensuring her light continues to shine is the Watcher of the Forest's mission. All this manhwa is actually making me fall in love with monsters with that. They all had a really fun time together. Now that it's time for her to leave, the orcs seem a little downhearted. They says it was fun to have a visitor after so long and asks her to tell them how everything turns out. Poor Harmonia, however, feels like she might collapse. She hasn't had any sleep in the last 3 days. She just wants to return to the village and pass out. Seeing her stumble, one of the orcs asks if she's really okay because she doesn't seem to be walking properly. She says she's been feeling dizzy for a while and can't think straight. Perry suggests that she rest if she's tired. Harmonia agrees, saying that maybe she should. After all, it's going to take a long time before she reaches the village. They settle down under a tree to rest. Now sitting under the tree, Harmonia thinks to herself that she hadn't realized how important sleep is for humans. Not being able to sleep feels like torture. But again, she has a long journey ahead, so she can't afford to rest too long. She decides to take a short nap and then get moving again. In the blink of an eye, she falls asleep. Now Lime speaks to Perry, saying that maybe they should have stopped her when she insisted on talking with the orcs. He wonders if she's working for those humans. Lime doesn't understand why Harmonia is doing this because he's sure they could easily win the war against the humans. Perry sighs, saying that it's because Harmonia is too kind. She doesn't want anyone to get hurt, but still they both think that maybe she's going too far. If they had stayed in the Walter Forest, where it's safe, none of this would have happened. Suddenly, a red-haired figure appears, asking if they really think Harmonia would have been able to just stay. It's Karis. Perry asks Karis what he's doing here and what about the Walter Forest. Karis says that Harmonia looked tired, so he got worried for her. He's just stopping by so she doesn't have to worry so much about the forest. Perry mocks him, saying he doesn't need to make excuses. She knows he's been watching them all along through that necklace. Karis kneels down and admits it's true that he's always worried about Harmonia. But he doesn't watch her constantly. The necklace only alerts him if there's a major change in her physical or emotional state. Luckily, there's nothing serious, she's just tired, and she'll be fine after some rest. Lime asks Karis if he could just take her back to the forest for now, because he's really worried about her. Karis says they should let her do what she wants for now. He'll be watching over her, so they don't have to worry. Part of the reason this is happening, he says, is because they kept her isolated for so long. Lime is still worried. What if she starts to like humans more and leaves them? Karis assures him that's not going to happen. This is Harmonia they're talking about. She would never leave them. Dog, this red-haired guy is actually so hot. Please, if you're the one thing I simp for hot guys, let me break it for you. Yes, I am. Karis says that Harmonia loves Walter Forest more than anything. Karis is, at this moment, saying that he has been away from the forest for far too long, so he should probably return. But he tells Perry and Lime that he would appreciate it if they don't tell Harmonia about his visit. Perry assures him that she was not planning to tell her. Then Karis, just before going, asks them to take care of her. Perry says that Karis is just like Harmonia and does whatever he likes. Suddenly, Lime alerts her that someone is coming their way. To her, the footsteps feel like they belong to a lot of humans. Perry thinks that if they are humans, Harmonia will get into trouble if they see her with them. She gets worried how could this happen right after Karis left. They decide to hide behind the bushes, and if something suspicious is about to happen to Harmonia, they will destroy them. The humans turn out to be none other than Cand and his people. Kun, yawning, wonders how long they'll be roaming like this. He can't believe how long Candy has been looking for her, but then again, he did say that she was irreplaceable. Kun doesn't understand why she is this important because all he has seen her do is shout. Then, a knight suddenly says aloud that there is someone. Candy looks up, and his expression darkens. It's Harmonia, now kneeling. At last he notices that she is still breathing and not injured. He softens his gaze and says that he was really worried and is glad that she is safe. Kun, having a chill at his sharp eyes, wonders if this is his glad face. Can then orders Kun to have a doctor called at Pagan Manor. Kun thinks it might just be in his head, and that Candy hasn't been sleeping for a few days too, so he might be on edge. As Candy lifts up Harmonia, he realizes that he has never seen Harmonia's face this up close, and that she has blue hair. Suddenly, a man arrives to report something. He tells the humans that at Walter Forest, they're raining no raising. A girl with blue hair who apparently knows how to control humans. He wonders if they both indeed met in Walter Forest, and if that's the reason why they were getting through the monsters. He smiles as he says that it feels like she might be even more useful than he thought. The scene shifts to Harmonia waking up. She panics, wondering how long she's been asleep. She looks around, calling for Perry and Lime, asking why they didn't wake her up. But she grows more alarmed when she realizes that there is no Perry and no Lime, and even her clothes are changed. She grabs the blanket to cover herself, worried that the two of them might have been captured by the humans. But again, she reassures herself that the two are smart enough to hide. She opens the door, knowing that she has to find them before it's too late. She runs, scanning for an exit, but she slips on the blanket. Before she can fall, Candy grabs her. He asks her if she is fine and why she is in such a rush. Harmonia, startled, asks him what he's doing, but more importantly, she demands to know where she is. He tells her that they are at Baron Pagan's manor. She doesn't know who that is, but she asks why she's even here. He informs her that he found her collapsed in the forest and that he has been looking for her ever since the orcs took her away. The doctor says that she will be fine after a long rest. Seeing her like this, he asks her if she's already feeling better. She wonders to herself if he is worrying about her, but why? She pulls the blanket over her hair to hide herself and says that she is perfectly fine. She says that she is half glad she was looking for him. Then she asks him if he found anything strange around her. Can says to her that he is not sure, but he only found her there. She then brushes him off and begins to walk away from him. While he asks her where she is going, she tells him that she has some important business to take care of. Candy nags her that she shouldn't run like this right after waking up, and that she hasn't rested enough to be considered fully recovered. Once she is fully well, they will head straight to the capital. She turns to him and says that they should go their separate ways from now on. Candy is really shocked. She explains that the only reason she has been helping him was because of their agreement, and now she believes that she has done enough to repay him for that robe. It's too hard for her to keep dealing with other people's mistakes. She adds that she's not saying it was his fault, but she is just done with things happening like this again and again. As she has already said before, she thanks him again for finding her. But she also makes it clear that he doesn't have to worry about her anymore because she is going to stop worrying about him too. And to end, she says they should end their agreement right here. This whole conversation makes Candy twitch. Looks like the girl hit his last brain cell with a sledgehammer. Having said all of it, Harmonia thinks that this much will be enough and that she needs to go straight to the capital after finding Lime and Perry. Candy mumbles to her, asking if she really thinks he will let her go like this. She turns confused. Candy picks her up, saying that he can't let her leave like this. He says that he has to make sure she gets proper rest first, so she should go back to her room. Wabro deserves an Oscar for acting all worried about her. Harmonia gets angry, wondering if he didn't hear what she just said, that she wants their agreement to end right away. Can responds that he has no intention of ending their agreement. She shoves his face, asking if he just can't say okay and do something easily for once. She struggles, shouting at him to let go of her right now or he will regret it. But Candy says that she has a lot of energy, and with a bit more rest, she'll be fine in no time. He adds that their agreement was based on mutual understanding between two parties, and that means their agreement should also end with mutual consent. His only concern is that they made their agreement verbally. Putting her down, he says that he still needs her help, and he can't let her go like this. She says to him that she has already made it clear that she doesn't want it anymore and that he is being pushy. He agrees that he is being that, but he wants to make an offer she might like. She abruptly says that she doesn't need his offer and is not interested in anything. He asks her even if it involves Chancellor Hyde. He gets up, asking if she really thinks she will meet him right after reaching the capital. Since he is one of the closest aides of the Emperor, why would a man with such high status meet someone who doesn't even have any kind of identity? Besides, she is already tangled in the monster hunt. He babbles that the security in the capital is much tighter than it is here, and even if someone like her gets to the courts, she will get caught immediately and will likely be kicked out too. She knows she is stuck, so she asks him for his suggestion. Can says that he will help her since he is quite close to the Chancellor and has a long-standing relationship with him. And as she has already seen, he is not someone with a low status either. So if she agrees to help him, he will arrange a meeting for her with the Chancellor. He can even give her more information about him, as it will serve her interests best. He tries to reach for her as he asks what she thinks of this offer, and for him, he thinks it might be a pretty good deal for her. As he is about to touch her head, she pushes him away. She says to him that she doesn't like showing her face and that she will need some time to think about it. It's all so sudden, so she needs time to mull over it. He says that he can't wait for much longer, since both of them need to head to the capital as soon as possible. She responds to him, but he is still standing there, staring at her, making her wonder if there is something else he wants to say. He says that there is actually one more thing he is curious about and asks if he can ask it. Harmonia says, "What is it?" because she knows he will still ask even if she tells him not to. He says that even at a slight glance, it was obvious that the orcs were there to attack the village. So how was she able to escape from so many orcs? She gets flustered, but keeping her cool, she says that she got lucky again. He shows sarcasm as he says that she seems to have an astonishing amount of luck. He asks if it's because the heavens love her or if the monsters do. He adds that one thing is clear, that monsters can't love humans at all. She gets angry and states that she doesn't know what he's trying to say, but she is sure about one thing. Someone like him, with such a malicious heart, can never be lucky. She says that since he will be in the monster hunt too, she wants to ask why is he so bent on killing monsters. He replies that, like he told her before, monsters do nothing but harm people. In fact, they continue to cause meaningless suffering. Not only will the monster hunt reduce that suffering, but they'll also be able to gain resources from the forest. And all of this is for the safety of the Empire. She shouts at him, saying that just as there are good and bad humans, the same applies to monsters. There are both good and bad ones, and not to speak of all monsters as bad just because of his own prejudice. Besides, why is he trying to take resources from the forest when it's not theirs in the first place? She says that she thought she made things clear after that wyvern egg incident. He finally asks if she is on the monster's side, and if not, does she have ill feelings toward humans? She wonders why he's asking this, but tells him to forget about it because it's not like he's going to understand. While deciding to be more careful when talking to him, she starts pushing him to get out of her room because she wants to rest. But Candy still wants to ask her a few more things. She says that she doesn't care and doesn't want to hear it, then kicks him out of the room. Poor Candy tries to say something while she slams the door in his face. He had wanted to press her a little more. He smiles, thinking that she is a little too honest for her own good. So he decides to be more mindful of what he says to her next time. He turns, thinking that he has a plan and that he needs Harmonia for this. Meanwhile, inside the room, Harmonia's heart beats wildly. Now that she is in her room, she thinks that Candy does have a point. What made her think that she could ever be the leader of the monster hunt? And if he is telling her the truth, then it will be difficult for her to meet the leader of the capital. She really doesn't know what to do now. There are so many things to consider, and she doesn't have Lime and Perry to help her out. But when she looks out of the window, she sees both Lime and Perry wet and held together, trying to climb the wall. She shouts out, all worried, wondering what the two of them are even doing. She yells and runs to the front as both Lime and Perry are unable to move. She tells them that she was just about to go out and find them, and asks where they had been. Perry says that they were trying to follow her while the humans were bringing her to this manor. But when they were about to come to her, Cand was in her room, so they had to wait. She can see that it must have been really tough on the two of them. She thanks the two of them for finding her. Lime says that it's nothing, since he can do much more than that for her. Perry fights with him, saying that she was about to say that first. Seeing them fight like this for her, Harmonia smiles. She tells them to stop bickering and points out that they should first go and wash up, since the both of them are a mess right now. Perry really wants to hop into a great warm bath. Lime says that he is a little thirsty, so if he can drink the bath water, Perry calls him dumb and says that he can just go and drink something before having a bath. Now Harmonia is seen glaring at none other than Cand. She asks him what he wants now. He greets her and gives her the clothes of hers that were washed and cleaned, saying that he came all the way here to give them to her. She takes them from him. They smell like her, as they must have been drying out in the sun. She then slams the door on his face yet again. He begs her not to slam the door and asks if they could talk for a while. She plops the clothes into Lime's arms, telling him to take them and hide them in the closet. Then she opens the door just a little and asks Cand what he wants to say to her. He tells her that he has given her about half a day to think, so as she has made up her mind. Harmonia knows that he is talking about helping him, about the agreement. He says to her that if she wants to help him, he is planning to leave for the capital the day after tomorrow. She grumbles that she knows he is short on time, but still doesn't he think he is being hasty. He gets close to her, saying that he has learned this from her, as she herself says that thinking too much will distract one from taking action. He points out that she has nothing to lose, so the more she thinks about it, the more confusing she will make it. She replies that he is rushing it, but she accepts that he is right, that even after she gets to the capital, it wouldn't be easy for her to go meet someone of high status. So she says that she will need his help. Cand says that he knows she would say this. However, she adds that she has no proof that he is actually close to that man, so wouldn't it be that she will be risking too much just for his word? So she needs him to prove that he will really keep his word. She doesn't care how he does it, but just as long as he gives her reassurance, she will decide whether to go with him or not. She will decide once he gives her proof. Cand thinks to himself that he thought she was someone to jump into a situation without thinking much, and he didn't expect her to be this shrewd. She says that now that he is done, she starts to close the door again, but he still tries to not let her close the door because apparently he still has something to say. Harmonia is really sick and tired of him. She asks him what it is this time and is also impressed by how strong he is. Cand flexes, saying that he is strong because he has practiced self-defense and swordsmanship, and physical strength is the foundation for those things. Harmonia says that it's rather funny, because if he was that talented and had that much strength, there was no reason for him to be scared of monsters. He clenches his hand and says that it's a fear he was just born with. Harmonia finds it ridiculous because no one is born with fear. He says to her that it's private, so she doesn't have to pry. Speaking of monsters, he informs her about the army of the lizard men they met. Harmonia does remember them after all. It was so hard for her to get rid of them. He tells her that those lizards have slaughtered a nearby village, and more than half of the villagers are dead. He asks her if now she knows what he says about monsters is true, they do nothing but harm. She asks him if this is what he wanted to tell her. She points out that she had already told him something about this. She says that the results of foolish moves can lead to grave consequences. Candy, shocked, asks if she knew this was going to happen. She explains that the lizard men needed something else to kill in place of Cand and his army, and that village must be that something else, since monsters never take losses, and everything comes with them at a price. She had already warned him that something like this might come. Cand can't believe it. He asks if she doesn't care that a whole village was massacred. He can't understand this strange feeling of indifference from her. She says that she doesn't really like to repeat herself, but says that she will say this one last time to him. She lets him know that if they don't listen to her, things like this will continue to happen. So if he doesn't think that he can take control of his knights, he should think about it carefully and think about whether he is able to bear the consequences of sacrificing lives for his own means, or whether or not traveling with her would really be worth it. This chapter really launched me to Mars. Okay, Pookies, that's all for today. Have fun, stay chaotic, and smash that subscribe button like it owes you money. If you want another part, please, I'm on my knees, begging, crying, screaming in lowercase. Harmonia gets ready. Lime is worried if she might feel tired from getting up early this morning, as she didn't get much sleep last night because of Cand. I wish my mom would say the same when I wake up at 2 in the evening instead of splashing water on me. Harmonia assures him that she is feeling pretty good despite not having much sleep. Besides that, she has to go and get some food for the both of them too. She adds that Candy was not the reason she didn't get enough sleep last night, as she has gotten used to dealing with him, and that it is easier to deal with him when she thinks of him as a kobold, since they get upset easily. Perry asks her if she enjoys being around humans. Harmonia asks her what she is talking about. Perry emphasizes that it's the first time she has seen her smile while talking about humans, so she was wondering if she has changed her mind about them, especially since she has been in the human world for quite some time. Harmonia replies that humans are exhausting. They were back then and still are now, and she doesn't think her opinion about them will ever change. While walking in the corridor, she wonders if she really smiled while talking about Cand, and that there's no way she did. After all, what would she smile about someone who always gets on her nerves? Cand calls out to her, asking why she is going out this early. She replies that she is going out to have some fruits and take a walk. He asks about fruits. She replies that she has to eat fruits regularly. This makes Cand fidget, but he says that he wants to go with her too. She asks him why. He replies that hearing her say that made him crave some fruits too. Harmonia sighs as he insists on coming with her. She thinks that since he has come along, she will quickly get what she wants and run back home. She scans and wonders, aren't human towns supposed to be bustling? But it feels really strange to be here like this. Cand informs her that a pack of orcs attacked recently, and people are just scared because they don't know when the orcs will come back again. And of course, thanks to her, the village doesn't have any serious damage. She can't believe that humans are really scared of monsters. Cand starts, saying that when he saw her back then, it looked like she was having a conversation with the monsters. She asks him what made him think like that. He replies that he doesn't know about that, but since she said to him that she is lucky, it feels strange for everything to fall so easily in her favor. But again, many say that luck is a skill too. He gazes at her and mentions that yesterday, she asked him why he is so scared of monsters. He explains that it is because he was once attacked by a monster when he was a child. That day he lost everybody he cared about, including the servants working at the manor, his little sister, and even his parents. At that time, all he could do was helplessly watch them die because he knew he was no match for them. When he thinks about himself back then, he thinks that he was just too weak. He trembles as he says that he still dreams about that day and can't help but think that everything happened because he was just too weak. If he had been strong enough to face them, things might have been different. He is about to say something else when Harmonia reaches for him and pulls his long hair. Dog, that's actually insane. She asks him what he is doing. She scolds him, asking how any of that was his fault. She says that she knows him, and even though they don't see eye to eye, she is certain about one thing. It didn't happen because he was weak, and they didn't lose their lives because he did something wrong. Girl is the therapist friend. She understands the hurt he must have gone through because she can imagine what it feels like to say goodbye to one's family. She asks if this is why he is so desperate to get revenge, and if he does and wipes out all the monsters, will he still have nightmares about that dream? She asks him if he doesn't think that it will just relive all his pain once again. The reason why humans still live together despite harming each other is that the number of normal and kind humans far outnumbers the bad ones in this world. And like she said about monsters, Cand cuts her off and says that he himself doesn't know about it all. He has only ever seen monsters causing harm to humans. He has never seen a normal monster, let alone a kind one, so it's really hard for him to accept what she is saying. She brushes it off, saying that whatever suits him. She also didn't expect him to change his mind this soon either. He gets close to her as he points out that this is the reason why he needs her. She fumbles as she asks him what he means by this. He mentions that he has never told anyone about his past. She takes her hand away as she points out that she didn't ask him to tell. He was the one who brought it up. He says that he told her his weakness because he wants her to trust him. She wonders if he told her this because he wanted reassurance. She points out that he must know that this is not going to be enough. He says he knows this. He takes out something from his pocket and says that this much will be enough for her to believe him. He shows that it's the permit to enter the imperial castle, and it is signed by the chancellor himself. He adds that he keeps this with him all the time in case something happens, and with this, no one needs any kind of status or connection to meet the chancellor. And once they safely get to the capital, he says that it will be hers. Now he questions if she wants to continue their agreement. She notices that the seal on it is the same that she saw on the Monster Hunt poster, so she is sure that Candy must have gotten it from the leader. And clearly she has nothing to lose and more to gain. She asks him what time they will be leaving tomorrow. He says at the earliest after breakfast and at the latest after lunch, and it will be good to go quickly to save time. She says okay, while she thinks that Lime and Perry will again think about her relationship with humans to say okay right away. She calmly says that if she doesn't show up tomorrow, he can leave without her. He gets really shocked as he asks if she is going to make him wait in vain again, and that he even brought the proof of his commitment. Stepping closer, she says that there is a lot for her to think about besides herself. Candy, confused, asks her what she means by that. She says to him that he can think of it as her personal issue and move on instead of digging so much into her life. And in any case, she knows that he is not lying to her. She thanks him, smiling, for showing her the proof. Later that night, Lime says that he is full. Perry scoffs, saying that he is making it sound like he has been starving for days now. Lime is actually my spirit animal or slime whatever. Lime says that they did go a long time without eating. Perry gets angry, asking what is he even saying when Harmonia is always feeding them, and in fact she couldn't even eat because of Lime. Perry calls out to Harmonia. She looks back. Perry asks her if something is on her mind. She replies nothing. Lime says that her face says something else. Perry sighs that Harmonia shows her emotions on her face. Lime says that this is right and asks her what she is so worried about. She says that she was wondering if the two of them are having a hard time trying to travel with the humans. Perry replies that she would be lying if she said she doesn't feel uncomfortable around them, and it does get stuffy for Lime to be inside that bag all day. This makes Lime's whiskers twitch. Perry questions if she is worried about getting to the capital. Harmonia asks her how she knows about this. Perry informs her that when they were waiting for her outside the window, they overheard what Can said to her. The way he talks really rubbed her the wrong way, and she thinks he is the worst kind of human. But still, if he can get her to the capital comfortably, they can put up with more discomfort. Lime seconds this, saying that to them, Harmonia is their priority. Harmonia calls them both out, asking how they always put her first. She adds that she could understand if they had done this once or twice, but she notices that they have been keeping her first ever since they left the water forest. Perry mumbles that Harmonia is just too nice, and that they think of her far more than she thinks of herself, and she just doesn't realize it. And again, the only reason they put her first is that they really like her. Harmonia thinks to herself that this is something they always tell her, but this time she wonders why it feels so different. The next day, Kun asks Cand how much longer they have to wait, as they have been waiting here all day. Cand asks him to wait a little longer. Kun points out that doesn't that mean she is not going to show up? He then asks what about all the fruits he has put in the carriage, and if all those fruits will be wasted. Cand informs him that there is someone who needs to eat fruits regularly. Mao, however, asks Cand to wait a little longer when he notices a robe. Cand says that she has finally come, and that they were waiting for her the whole day. He asks her if she is ready to go, and she says yes. Meanwhile, on the other side, Karis is sitting on a tree. He grabs one of the falling leaves and thinks that if the wind feels dreary these days, it is because Harmonia is gone. The monster watching him asks if there is anything that he is worried about. Karis says to him that everything is fine. To the monster, it feels strange that now the forest has been so quiet without Harmonia. Karis replies that isn't it expected, as she used to run around the forest as if there was no tomorrow. The monster asks him if he really thinks they should let Harmonia travel around like this. He says that he knows humans are dangerous, but he is also more worried about her getting hurt by monsters than humans, as he knows that Harmonia has powers that other monsters want. The power of the Might Fairy and Lime isn't enough to protect her. Also, she does have the necklace that Karis gave her, but still Karis says to him that he is worrying just too much, so he must have failed to give them enough confidence. He explains that he has talked about Harmonia's power to her enough times to make her understand about her powers, and he has also warned her not to use them frivolously. So he assures him not to worry about her. As long as he is here to protect her, and as long as she is loved by this forest, she will be fine. Harmonia and Candy are standing when they see some monsters coming their way. She doesn't understand this because she clearly used the route that would help them avoid any monster encounters. So she stands there before them, wondering how these monsters are here. It's like they knew where they would be going. Also, she has not seen this monster before, so she doesn't know what they are. They seem similar to wyverns, but again, they don't have many wings. Can says they are drakes, and he is pissed that of all the monsters they had to run into, it had to be them, as it is going to be a headache for them. Harmonia, pushing away the thought, says it looks like he has quite a bit of information about them. He says that they are the most aggressive monsters he has ever seen, and attacking them without thinking will lead to a dangerous situation. Harmonia has also heard that drakes can be pretty rough, but she glances at Cand, wondering how he knows about this at all, since drakes are quite rare monsters. One of the drakes speaks, saying that this is where it happened and that they can sense the human who took their leader. Hearing this, Harmonia asks Cand if he is the one, and if he had a part in any drake's disappearance before. He gets shocked and asks how she knows about this. He explains that he caught one because he needed to do some research, and thanks to that, he was able to learn a lot about drakes. It gives her a headache, thinking about how humans can be so despicable. He tries to calm her down, saying that of course this happened before he met her, and after meeting her, there isn't a single monster that he has touched. She replies that she knows that, but the problem is that she keeps learning about his past offenses, and it is rather tiring for her. Meanwhile, the drakes talk among themselves, saying that the humans are talking too much, and that before they attack, they will capture them and attack them with their breath from their mouths. The first breath is about to catch Harmonia when Can comes jumping towards her, defending her with his sword. She doesn't quite react immediately and wonders if he knew that the drakes were going to attack them. He is completely different from when they encountered lizardmen. She thought he was a rich, spoiled brat who couldn't do anything on his own. He seems like one of those F-boys with lover-boy personalities. He says that their powers are similar to the one he captured. He asks all of them to stay on guard. Harmonia says to him that she will be fine and tells him to take care of himself. She scoffs, thinking about how now he is not getting afraid of these monsters. He says that she should take care of the carriage while he deals with these monsters. Can fixes her hood and says that what if he gets inside the carriage and the monsters again take her away? That he can't let that happen, most importantly after he did so much to change her mind. The drakes get angry as they now recognize Can's sword and realize that it belongs to the one who took away their leader. They attack him to take him down. The whole forest is burning, and Harmonia knows she has to do something before it gets too late. She knows that if their leader is no more, then the next to lead must be in the command, and that she needs to meet him. She is not sure if she will be able to communicate with them, but it's better than doing nothing. She is running away when one of the drakes comes to her, saying that they won't let anybody go away. She notices that this drake seems more talkative than the others, so she should try talking to him. But the drakes keep blowing fire on the ground, not giving her any time to talk. She understands that staying on the ground won't help since drakes can't fly fully, so she jumps to climb on top of the drake. The drake gets angry and shouts, asking what kind of human she is, and to get off him. She tells him to calm down. The drake asks if she really said something to him. She says that she doesn't want to fight him and wants to resolve this peacefully, and she is sure that he also doesn't want his group to get harmed either. She promises to try to sort this out and to help him resolve this issue. The drake points something about her power when the ground starts to shake. It feels like an earthquake is coming. The ground opens, and Harmonia falls inside it, making Can scream her name. At the same time, her necklace gives a strong signal to Karis, who gets worried upon seeing his necklace flash. Kun doesn't understand how the ground caved in like this on its own. Even the drake's vice leader was gone. Can runs to find Harmonia, but Kun begs him to stop. Kun comes forward and says that he can't let him go any further. Can orders him to move away, saying he just saw that Harmonia fell down there. Kun begs him to stay calm and asks if he really plans to jump into that hole. He says that he can't let Can jump in there, and that while she might be valuable, she is not valuable enough to risk his life. Kun reminds him that he himself used to say not to make a move unless one has a plan. Can says him only and tells him to be quiet. Now he thinks that Kun is right, and he needs to get a plan to think of a way to save Harmonia inside the cave. Line try to wake her up. She wakes up and asks where they are. Line tells her that they are underground. She doesn't understand how she is fine when they have fallen this deep. Perry says that the ground here is really soft, so it must have cushioned her fall. Line says that it was him who saved her. She can see him there, but it is really dark, and even with Perry, she is unable to see anything clearly. The Vice President Drake comes up and says to her that finally she woke up. She wonders if he also got dragged down inside with her. The Drake says that he can't believe that she used her power while he was not on guard. He asks her if it was part of her plan. Harmonia tries to explain that this is a misunderstanding, that she didn't do this, and if she had, why would she be here too? The Drake agrees that she does have a point. That reminds her that she has not introduced herself to him. She tells him that she is Harmonia, and that she comes from a not very far place called Walter Forest. The Drake says that if she is from the Walter Forest, then it explains the protective barrier, so a dragon must be watching over her. Harmonia can see that he must be talking about Karis. It is rather interesting because now she gets to know that monsters can sense it. She then brings up if he noticed things here. The Drake replies that he doesn't, but he thinks there might be a path over there. Then again, that means he doesn't know if there is a way out or not. Line suggests that since they are underground, how about they ask the Earth Spirit for help? Perry seconds this suggestion. After all, they are in its realm, and Nadium would be the one in charge of this area. Harmonia questions if this is really the only way, because it would be much more beneficial if they get out without a gnome's help. The Drake asks her if she has seen a gnome before. She responds that she did once, and that it's a monster that lives deep inside the earth, but comes to the surface sometimes. But again, they are not going to do anything if they just keep talking. She says to the Drake that they should get moving. As they are going, Harmonia speaks first, saying that she clumsily heard details before, and if he could explain things to her more clearly, as she heard him saying that a human took their leader. The Drake replies that it was not their leader that the humans took first. It was his hatchling, and when he found it, he went to search for its baby but got caught up in the human's trap. Harmonia can't believe it if the Drake is emphasizing that the humans used his baby as bait. The Drake adds that they tried to save their leader, but he stopped them and promised them that he would come back with his baby, telling them not to worry and to wait for him. Harmonia knows there is no way that they would have just sat like this, and it must have become more furious for them with each passing day. She realizes how much of a great impact a leader has on its group. She also can't imagine Walter Forrest without Karis. She says to the Drake that she understands what he is trying to say, but she adds again, even if the humans she was with had taken the leader, their leader is still in someone else's hands. She mentions that he can call him the humans' leader, so that's why, even if they attack the humans, they won't be able to find their leader. The Drake glares at her, asking if she is really telling them to give up and go back. He adds that even if she is the child of the Walter family, she is still a human after all. She cuts him off, saying she didn't tell him to give up. She just wants him to wait, as she is doing her best to resolve this matter. The Drake questions if this means she is going to help bring their leader back. She replies that she can't say for sure, but she will try her best, and she is really sick and tired of how humans act at this point. She turns to him, pointing out that she will need him to help her help him, and if he really trusts her, he needs to do one thing, and that is to pack his things and leave as soon as the ground shifts. That way, she will be able to meet the leader of the humans and resolve things as soon as possible. But if they still block their paths, they will just be wasting their time. She puts it clearly that she is not forcing him. After all, she will respect his decision. His silence is telling her that he is thinking about it, and it is pretty stuffy here for her too. She didn't realize that being without natural light would bother her this much. She just wants him to get out. She also didn't notice any gnome yet, let alone the earth spirit. And then she is confused if they should really just go like this. At the same time, a gnome peeks at them from behind. All of them are walking when Harmonia thinks that it feels to her like they are just walking in circles. She decides to take a break. She is so exhausted that she could break apart. Now Drake states that humans are really weak. Harmonia sarcastically says to him that having strength must be fun. Perry mentions to Harmonia that if she is tired, she can sit here and rest while she and Lime will go look for a gnome. Harmonia finds the plan nice but feels bad for making them do all the work. Perry assures her that it's nothing and turns to Drake, telling him to take full care of Harmonia. Then Drake pouts that it seems like the dragon is not the only one who cares about her. She replies that it is mainly because they have been together for a long time. Then Drake brings up the conversation from before. He tells her that he accepts it. She gets really excited and makes him promise that he cannot take back his words. She didn't imagine that he would accept her offer this quickly and wonders if it's because of something. As she sniffs around, she asks if he did this because she smells really good. The Drake replies that he doesn't know what she is talking about. She explains that everyone says she has a sweet scent that enchants the monsters to be nice to her, and she thought that maybe that is the reason why he was being nice to her. The Drake mentions that it's true he did get a feeling that he shouldn't reject her, but again he emphasizes that he will not agree to her terms just like that. She questions him what was the other reason. He says that it's a secret. Harmonia lightly calls it childish. She gets up, saying that they should get going now. Drake thinks that humans can replenish their energy as quickly as they exhaust it. Harmonia says that she is still tired, but the more they wait, the more they will waste time. Besides, it's not like she can get rest here. She is a little worried about Lime and Perry too because they haven't come back, and she is worried that they might have lost their way. Then Lime and Perry come back, having a gnome covered around Lime. They tell her that they have found a gnome. She wonders if this is really a freak gnome. Now the gnome, being released from Lime, starts coughing. The gnome says that he never thought that he would swallow slime, and if it weren't for Harmonia, it would have never happened. She gets confused, wondering what he is talking about. The gnome shouts at her for acting dumb, saying she is the one who woke up Lord Nadium from his sleep. Harmonia is really confused as to what he is talking about and when she did something like that. The gnome asks her to stop lying, saying that back then the ground was shaking so much because Lord Nadium is furious because of her. Now Harmonia thinks about the fight with the drakes, though she doesn't know what else they did other than that. Drake scoffs that the gnome has so much to say for a little guy. Harmonia tries to stop them too. She then asks the gnome if he knows where Nadium is. The gnome replies that of course he knows. After all, he was with him before he came here. She asks him if he can take them there, but the gnome blatantly says no. He scoffs, asking if she really thinks he would like to see them after what they did, and warns that if Nadium sees them, it will only make him even more furious. She gets really sad, thinking if Nadium is that much upset over their actions, after all, a lot of time has already passed. The gnome states not to even think about getting on Nadium's nerves, and in any case, he doesn't want to talk to them. Lime finally speaks, saying that if the gnome doesn't tell them where Nadium is, he won't let the gnome go either. The gnome gets all scared but tries to cool down as he asks if they are really threatening him right now. Lime gets all wicked as he puts it that he can even eat him, and that he is actually really hungry. Though he might not be fulfilling, but still, he'd be better than nothing. The gnome gets all teary-eyed and finally gives in to take them to Nadium. He gets all gloomy and slow as he tells them the direction. Harmonia ponders if this is because they are getting close to Nadium, because the area was starting to light up. She starts to dash forward, wondering if this is where Nadium is. The light is making her cover her eyes. It is really bright, and there are butterflies there with flowers on a big tree. It makes her question if they really are underground. Nadium finally speaks, saying that a human traveling with a drake dares disturb their nap. He scolds them, reminding that he is the guardian of the land, Nadium. Most spirits tend to be stationary once they settle in the land, and they are indifferent to the affairs of the world. That is why interacting with a spirit is rather rare. The spirits Harmonia has seen in books were rather old men and women. She didn't know that spirits can be this young too. Nadium calls her a human and says that she dares to brag in his home, now standing there like this. He asks her what brings her here. She replies that the gnome led her here as she told him that she wanted to meet Nadium. Nadium calls her bold and asks the reason for her being here. She says that she would like his help to help go back up there. He crosses his hand back to his side and asks if there is a reason that he should help, then states that they are the ones who disturbed his nap, shook the ground with their stomping, even burned the trees in the forest, and still are soaking with such audacity. Harmonia is at a loss for words, just like how I am when my mom argues and brings up how I forgot to wash the dishes last year. Harmonia mumbles that it was not quite all their fault, as he could have put up a sign like he is sleeping. Perry whispers to Harmonia not to get on the spirit's nerves, but Harmonia is still on her stance. How could she have known that he lived so deep and was sleeping? She is already exhausted and doesn't want to put up with this child's tantrum over a nap. Nadium pulls out a vine to tie them with it as he says that he is not a child. He makes it clear that from now on she will have to call him Lord Nadium and respect him. Lime and Perry are trying to get this vine away from Harmonia. Nadium notices this and comments that he has never seen any monsters this kind to a human. He questions her if they are her companions. Harmonia thinks to herself, wondering why she thought that Nadium would be kind to her. She really doesn't understand how she can convince him. He glares at her, wondering what kind of human she is to have monsters protecting her, and if she possesses a power stronger than what he can sense. He is now starting to wonder just what kind of power she is holding. Now he makes a proposal. If she decides to stay here and be his attendant, he will let the others go outside to the world. Perry calls it nonsense. She tries to explain to Nadium that she has a lot of things on her plate, and she really can't stay here. Nadium makes sure to clarify that in that case he can't grant her request. Harmonia can see that he is really prideful, and he is not going to listen to her, so in that case she decides to do what comes to her mind. She says to Nadium to make an agreement. She points that since she has a lot of things to do, she really can't stay here for much longer as she has many promises to keep. But instead, she will come and visit him once everything is resolved. He stares at her, asking if she really is trying to say she will come and visit him. Harmonia questioned wasn't that the reason he wants her to stay is because he gets pretty lonely. She does understand that this place is pretty, but again, it must be really lonely for him. Nadium scoffs. He has never heard of something this preposterous in his entire life, making her feel like she got it wrong. He states that he has been here because this is his place, and unlike her, he is a great spirit, so it's only natural for him to be alone. But still loneliness could be seen in his eyes.